Men of the North! You stand at the precipice. Your kings have failed you, so now you turn to the gods. And yet you do not plead. You do not kneel to dust your heads with ash. Instead you wail, why have the gods forsaken us?
I'm not skilled with doing reviews about other games, because so far my channel has been only dedicated to Star Wars The Old Republic, but let's see how this goes on.
One so-called witches. Stray children taught the ways of foul sorcery, their bodies mutated through blasphemous ritual. Sent to fight monsters, though they could not distinguish good from evil. The flicker of humanity, long extinguished within them.
It took me roughly around 80 or 90 hours to complete the game's main story quest. It's hard to tell how long exactly because I did a huge part of the side quests and explorations, but also because the timer in the stats page was bugged sometimes. It showed me different and weird numbers of days, as in 5 days in one check, 4 days in the next check. This is on the PC version. Still though, by my calculations and the amount of video material I have, that's over 600 or 700 gigabytes of raw footage to be converted and edited for an unforgettable and great walkthrough, I hope. I have recently finished 3 of the best single player games I have ever played. While they are not the best overall, they all held me tight until the very end, and this is an important quality. The titles are Dragon Age Inquisition, Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor, and now The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Hands down, I admit the best by far is the third mentioned one. It is so detailed and polished, complicated enough and well written that it leaves no place for any competition. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt just literally blew me away. I've structured this video review in a few sections. First, we begin with difficulty.
The sheep are in the meadow and the kine.
The Witcher 3 starts slow, introducing you into the most perfect way for your future very long and entertaining gameplay. It offers 4 difficulty levels, more than enough for every player, noob or a veteran, to choose from. I personally started with the second option, or as I like to call it, normal difficulty, where I will not get murdered with one swing of the enemy's sword or weapon, but it involves just about enough tactics and strategy movements and planning to get you going. Later on I switched to the third, or as the developers call it, Blood and Broken Bones, or as I call it, BBB. As I was gaining levels, I realized my explorations were paying off very well and I was stacking up resources and money through the roof already. It was time to challenge myself. This thing happened around level 15, 17, I can't really remember, pretty much around the middle of the game. The challenge provided by BBB was decent and made me reload on a couple of boss fights until I mastered the tactics and planned the potions usage correctly. Keep in mind there is even a higher difficulty level available for those true veterans and crazy people.
The sheep are in the meadow and the kine.
The graphics, insanely good. That enough? No? Okay, let's continue. The visuals of the third Witcher game are unbelievable. I honestly need to seriously think to be able to find a decent competitor graphics-wise. Right, I know it's not the top of the top, but for this genre, this type of gameplay, this crazy huge open world with minimum loading screens and free traveling, it is just a fantastic looking game. And the backgrounds, the scenery, oh my. You can sit on a rock and stare at the nearby forest or hill or something else endlessly. Understandably, it all comes at a pretty high cost. My PC hardware specs are very decent, and if you need, you can check my full hardware description on my Twitch channel. It's usually around the 50-55 mark, with the normal drops at times down to 45, but never lower. This is on 1440p resolution, and in smaller spaces I was able to sit stable on 60. 60 because I used adaptive sync with full screen to help lower the amount of tearing. I didn't want to ruin the beautiful picture with annoying tearing. I've had no intentions of benchmarking the game while playing it, so adaptive sync was a very good idea, I thought. Sure, in smaller and emptier areas the FPS would have reached higher numbers, probably even 80 or 90, but in all fairness, I don't need my game to run in 80 FPS when my monitor is limited to 60.
The sheep out in the meadow and the
The gameplay. I probably should have started with this, because it's the most appealing aspect of any similar game of this genre. I left it here, so you have to go through the build-up stages to reach this. The gameplay section is really the best of all. The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt is so packed with stories and cinematic cutscenes, at times I found myself asking, is really BioWare still the leader in this aspect of the RPG genre? Or did CD Projekt RED overtake the throne silently and somehow unknowingly? I have to admit, I didn't play the first two games and only recently started reading the Tales books, that is. Remain calm, I did a lot of research and got myself familiar with Geralt's adventures in good details to get the grasp of the global situation and the big picture, the world that everything is taking place. By the way, the books are absolutely a must-read for a fan of this type of games and literature. They are concentrating mostly on one person, Geralt, but all the stories are really well written and Ajay Sapkowski has done an outstanding job with the series. Any chance you didn't know that the Witcher games are based on books? I guess we all knew that, but leaving this fact here just in case.
The sheep out in the meadow and the
The bad things, because every awesome game has more or less bad things in it. Really a hard task though, pointing out the bad things in this game. If I had to mention something, I would probably be talking about the overextended cutscenes at times. There are moments in the main quest storyline where you would watch a cutscene for over 40 or 50 minutes with barely being involved in a dialogue choices or any other form of player activity. It's like watching a TV series episode. These are very rare though and don't hurt the gameplay at all. Or very little maybe. Another thing would be the weird start. If you're a noob, like I was when I started the game, when you start the game, you should do it on one of the first two difficulties. Blood and Broken Bones is not easy unless you come from Witcher 1 and 2 as a great veteran of the series. Third weakness I'd have to point out is the requirements. While the game delivers more than it asks for, the hardware demands are still pretty steep. If you own an Nvidia GPU, you can benefit from the realistic hair effects, which is not only limited to the player character, but can be extended at a very little extra cost to other characters, including the monsters you're fighting with. I'm sure there are more weaknesses, but they are so unimportant and easy to skip, like a bug I encountered in the very last quest where Yen refused to move and kept screaming at me for not sitting like a target next to her, because apparently for the quest we are supposed to stay together, but also she's supposed to move. I don't want to go and list all of the other small and smaller issues. Every game has its issues.
The sheep out in the meadow and the
The conclusion? I don't think there is an end. I don't wish this to end. I played the game with 15 out of 16 available DLCs, and by the time of recording for this video, because I published my review in written form first, I can tell you that now I have the New Game Plus, the 16th DLC that I was missing, and I'm already progressing through the 40s. My character is, I think, level 43 at the moment. The game is really just as fun as it was the first time. I have a chance to replay all the cutscenes and the options that I didn't choose the first time. I get to leave characters alive instead of killing them, or in other cases kill characters that I decided to leave, and this more or less changes all of the global outcome of the story of this world. I have to mention, these DLCs, they're all free. All of these 60 minimum, and in my case over 120, 130 hours of gameplay, they're all at the cost of just purchasing the game, which is often discounted on G2A or Amazon, and the links are down below if you're interested to purchase it. The game is amazing. I still have a lot of side quests to do in the first playthrough. I left them for the New Game Plus experience. Because those quests were ridiculously under my level already. It's just the game is so filled with explorations and quests available that there is no way to be able to complete all of them on level. At some point, sooner or later, you will overlevel the content. As a matter of fact, the game gives you plenty of warnings before it punishes you for not completing a side quest, because sometimes, depending on the events happening around you and because of your decisions, you might actually fail another quest that you have not taken or that you have taken but haven't had a chance to finish. Don't worry, as I've mentioned, the game does a very decent job of warning you. If you still get the notification of a quest failed, don't worry, because the game will still allow you to load the previous save. It does save automatically on a number of slots, so you will never have problems of losing something forever. The time I spent with The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt was fantastic, and I'm very eager to finish all of the few remaining quest markers, especially those in the waters around Skellige, as well as do the few remaining contracts and all the other mini side quests that I have left unfinished in order to go save the world until it's not too late. Because yes, after you finish the main story, you still have a chance to go and complete 99.9% of the other side quests that you decided not to complete. I waited until now with the walkthrough on my YouTube channel, because alongside the gameplay I wanted to share insights, suggestions, tips and other useful and valuable information. When you know the story from start to end, it's easier to determine which quest is important, which NPC needs its story to be told to you, the viewer, and it helps me a lot with knowing what to edit and how to present it for better viewing experience. I'm recording this just about a week before the first expansion launches, and I'm extremely excited to get my hands on Hearts of Stone. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you prefer, you can visit the link down below in the description or flying here around the screen and read the article I published a couple weeks ago on my website, the written version of the review. See you next time. Bye bye.
Wait, I want to talk.
Talk, but you come. Or call you wham-a-wham like that.